right, it is time. It's Monday. It's a little after 4 o'clock. We had to do Monday Mirages. We find out from the world of sports over the weekend, the past week, some things have happened. Are they a sign of more things to come, or are they merely a mirage?
First one, real or mirage, New York Jets quarterback Bryce Petty looked like the team's future quarterback.
You know what? I'm going to say real only because you never said whether it be a starter, second string, third string.
Oh, that's good. That is good.
If he's my future, if he's my starter, I'm a little concerned about the world because he definitely didn't look good enough to be that. He looked good enough to be on my roster. He looked like a guy that if my starter got hurt and I had to have him for a quarter, he could get it done. So I'm going to say real. He will be a quarterback on the Jets.
Man, if we've really gone to that on Monday Mirages, I guess I have to agree as well. It's real, poorly worded by me. I'll own it. But if you want to go back to the actual premise of what I meant, the question, it was, do you believe Bryce Petty, after his performance this weekend, looks like a quarterback you could have for the 2017 and 2018 season? That would be a mirage.
If you put the word starter in, I'll call it a mirage. But until you put the word starter in, it's real.
You know, it was the Rams defense. They put up a good effort. There's a team that really got after Cam Newton, who's the MVP of the league last season. So Bryce Petty didn't turn over the football. You would argue that it wasn't even his fault on the one turnover he did have. I would probably lean towards agreeing as well, but nothing to have Jets fans thrilled that they're stuck with a third-string quarterback, Bryce Petty, and you're hinging your future on him. So I'm with you on that. Real or Mirage, tonight is the biggest game of the New York Giants season so far.
That is real, and sadly, because how good the Cowboys are, you will be able to say that for every game of this season thus far. Until the Cowboys lock it up, and if the Giants are able to lock up a wild card with a game or two left, that will be true of every game this season for the New York Giants.
That along with the conference overall in the NFC, just because they're so close teams back and forth, whether it be somebody in that NFC North, it ends up being the Vikings or the Lions or the Packers, they're going to be sitting there right next to the Giants till December. Same's going to probably be said about their own division. The Redskins and the Eagles, they're going to be right there. Who knows if the Cardinals are going to be able to pop back and maybe get there. It's going to be weird with those ties, too, with Washington and Arizona and others.
Can we get rid of all those?
Having to figure out if that tie, maybe for an 8-7-1 team, is going to be the difference over Giants who are 8-8 or 9. There's so many things that can happen, so I'm with you as well, Levack. The answer is real, especially when you're going up against a playoff team year after year in the Cincinnati Bengals. A.J. Green offering up something tough on the outside.
Did you see the stat? If A.J. Green gets 104 yards in tonight's game, he'll join Randy Moss as the only players in NFL history with 1,000 yards receiving in each of their first 6 seasons.
Wow.
So he's going to have it this year. It's just a matter of whether it'll be tonight or next week.
Real or Mirage, your Monday Mirages. New York Yankees star Gary Sanchez will win the American League Rookie of the Year award tonight. Real or Mirage?
Let me think about real. Brazil.
No, not you
really,
voting for him. Not you voting for him. Really, they're going to hand him the award.
Yes, they have to, man. Nobody made a bigger difference on their team than Gary Sanchez. If you want to come at me and say he didn't play enough, well, I'll come back at you and say, look how stagnant that team was when he wasn't there. He gave you a perfect example of how important he is to that team. Not only is he Rookie of the Year, he's Rookie MVP. He showed you stuff, and he is the reason Yankee fans like myself are not losing our minds over yet another year of not making the playoffs, because he has given us a bright and shiny future. 4 more years of Gary Sanchez.
We'll see if Levack is right. I'm leaning towards Mirage because
you hate people.
No, I'm not going to say hate people. Someone else would win the award. I'm trying to view it how baseball writers would view it. Those are the guys who vote on this.
So you're making up imaginary rules and being a jerk.
What do you mean? They're the
That's
ones
what
who
baseball writers do.
Good. I'm not voting. I vote for a lot of stuff somehow. I don't know how I'm allowed to do it.
How long until that happens?
But the baseball writers are the most old school guys there is in sports. And if you're going to tell me a baseball writer who's an old school guy is going to say, you know what? I'll vote for this guy who played in about less than 70 games for the Yankees instead of a guy like Michael Fulmer, who was that piece, by the way, in that Yoenis Cespedes move back in July 2015, who started on April 29th. That's going to be the difference. Do I think Sanchez has been tremendous and maybe had a bigger impact late in the season than Fulmer did? Absolutely. But if I'm talking about voters, they're probably going to take Fulmer. So that's why I'm going there. So I'm going Mirage for that one.
No, you're wrong.
Real or Mirage for Monday
Wrong.
Mirages.
Wrong.
Conor McGregor is the biggest star in the UFC.
Real. He's one of the biggest stars in sports right now. People who don't even watch mixed martial arts know who he is. He is the real deal. Like you and several other people. I gotta be honest with you. I didn't make this analogy until you guys did. He's the closest we're going to see in our lifetime to Muhammad Ali. He's charismatic. He's borderline obnoxious. He's entertaining. And on top of all of that, he can fight. He can flat out fight you. So he's exciting. He's fun to watch. He's the biggest name. You look at Ronda. We don't know what she is anymore. You look at John Bones Jones. People are sick of his antics. And then there's that media drop down. And I don't know anybody who's even got a chance of catching him right now.
Conor McGregor, as they say, the proof is in the pudding. Sets a Madison Square Garden record for revenue at the gate. Pay-per-view buys are going to be great. Everyone knows who he is when it comes to Ireland and other countries in the fight game. But, B-U-T, this is a mirage, and it's still Ronda Rousey. And here's why it's Ronda Rousey. Go up to somebody in a bar today and ask them who Conor McGregor is, and then ask them if they know who Ronda Rousey is. I'm still willing to bet that American citizens, not fight fans, not sports fans, will say they know who Ronda Rousey is before they know Conor McGregor. And that's nothing against McGregor, but Ronda's just crossed over. If you are a female sports fan, you know who Ronda Rousey is. You may not know her opponents. You may have forgotten Holly Holm's name. But Ronda Rousey has become that badass
that
chick.
Beating Nunez gave her. Holly Holm forgot Holly Holm.
Maybe. But people still know Ronda Rousey. I don't know what it's going to take for her to ever be overtaken by Conor McGregor. Maybe her just retiring in 2 to 3 years. But Ronda is still the biggest star when it comes to the UFC. And we'll find out December 30th if that's the case. Dana White said before it's going to be the highest grossing pay-per-view of all time when she decides to step back into the octagon.
Yeah, I like I said, I think you're underestimating Conor, but it's you make a good argument. It would be fun to see, and then because Conor hasn't even started his movie career yet.
No,
and you know it's coming.
Right? Oh yeah,
you know it's coming. So
hopefully his own reality show. Could that even be on television?
God, could you? Is there a chance you could actually have too much Conor McGregor?
I don't think so.
I think it's possible. I think a 24/7 reality show, and even I would get sick of Conor McGregor. And that's saying something.
Real or Mirage, despite the loss, the Michigan Wolverines are still a top 4 team in college football. We're talking college football playoff committee.
This is a tough one for me because you know me, I judge my favorite teams very harshly.
Yes.
I try to be real when I talk about them for the most part. So they lose, and they lose in a fashion you haven't seen them really play much this year. I want to drop them down, but who do you move up above them?
Right.
Obviously, Ohio State, I think Louisville sneaks in now. They're all one-loss teams. So I think I want to drop them out. I really do, because I want them to win their way back in. But I think they are. I think you've won me over. I think they're the 4th best team, and I think that they'll get the right to play. The only reason I think that the committee might put them at 5 is with that Ohio State game looming, Michigan can win their way back in.
Right.
So I'm wondering if the committee, because we've seen them do stuff like this before. It's like, hey, we're going to drop you down, but it's only because you have the perfect path back in. Prove you belong. So it's a real mirage. I say real, they're still a top 4, but I can see the committee dropping them to 5.
I'm with you, too, here. I think it's real. I would have right now Alabama's 1, which, how about this? If Alabama loses and then wins the SEC title game, they're basically in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
No matter, right?
Worst case, they're 2.
Right. I don't think they're moving anywhere, especially if they lose to Auburn in a rivalry game. They may still stay at 1. Yeah.
Right. I believe them.
Alabama's not moving anywhere. I'd have Louisville at 2 and Ohio State at 3, and that's really close for me. But just give me Bobby Petrino and Lamar Jackson over J.T. Barrett and Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer's great, but Ezekiel Elliott's not in the backfield anymore. So give me Louisville at 2, Ohio State at 3, and then I put Michigan at 4. They beat Colorado. They beat Penn State. Who would I put above them? Clemson's been really close this season. They almost lost to NC State. They probably should have lost to NC State. Washington, people forget this about the Stanford win. Jake Browning lights up the Cardinal. They were without their 2 best cornerbacks in that game. They beat Utah on College game day. They won that game because of a punt return. Washington's gotten lucky this season on some big games, so I still have the Wolverines at 4. And the final one here on Monday Mirage is Real and Mirage. We are at Clifton Park Bowl. There's a bowling alley here.
That's real. We're qualifying people for the Super Bowl send-off.
Real and Mirage, you are the best bowler at 104.5 the team.
Ooh. I'm the best bowler I've ever seen on 104.5 the team. We have producer closer back in the studio.
The closer himself, Brian Mariano.
Who's allegedly a very good bowler.
Allegedly is the right term to use.
No one I know has seen him bowl.
He's talking about 300 games he's out there rolling.
Right, which I never did. My high was a 276.
He's like Ice Cube and like walking in and being like, just messed around through a 300, messed around in a triple-double. Just like a no big thing.
I've been in the 270s a handful of times. I've never bowled a perfect game.
Until today. Levack takes the... No, sorry.
I need new shoes. I don't even have shoes right now. Historically speaking, I'm going to say I am real the best bowler.
Wow.
But at this moment in time, because I am not in training, which means I'm not out every Tuesday and Thursday night slugging back a pitcher here at spare time, rolling the ball. I'm going to say that right now he probably has the title. But I would beat him head to head.
You've made the rule on this show that when we talk about best and greatest, if you start adding things to the end of that,
I admit that.
You have just added that I'm the best when I have my shoes and I'm training. So already,
my shoes and my glasses, so I have them.
Yeah, already your answer isn't great. I'm just gonna.
No, I said all time. If you go back to like when I was at my best, when I was at my peak. When I was at my peak performance,
you're the Bo Jackson of bowling
on Bud Light, chicken fingers, and bowling. I would have beat him, but right now I don't know. He might be able to beat me.
You're out of your prime.
I'm out of. Yeah, I look like I swallowed a bowl.
I'm going Mirage for myself. I don't even want to step out there. I have mangled fingers. I have a bad shoulder. I just no. Me no. I would love to see you a prime Levack bowling versus closer, and I would be enjoying it.
I'll tell you what. Closer and I, toe to toe, but we do it my way.
What does that mean?
That means that we're going to need a ride home. Oh my goodness. Okay, if he can beat me
not even bowling.
The way I do it, then we'll call it a win. He's got to go beer for beer, shot for shot, strike for strike. That's the part of the way I play.
It's Levack bowling.
That's Levack street bowling right there.
Bowling.
That's what the gangs do. You know what I mean? That's what the tough guys do.
I hope that's never real.
I used to bowl in a league called Romper Room. Okay, we don't play around, all right?
I hope that's a mirage. That was real?
That was real.
Oh,
that's all real, man. I used to, dude, I never drove home from bowling.
Not that, Levack. I'm talking about the league you were in.
Yeah, Romper Room. Yeah. We could drink. Some of us were good bowlers, too.
This is really over. That's Monday Mirages for you.
Byron Hunt answers the big question. What do the Giants need to do to beat the